Heyo, goblins and goblets. This is Nikki from the Trashgoblins. We are bringing you a very special episode of this podcast. Mike, myself, and our good friend and fellow goblin Rosie sat down in different locations, but sat down to kind of give a run through for first time C2E2 attendees of what to expect. We'd wanted to do it last year, but we didn't get around to it. So this year, especially because we have our booth, we want to make sure all y'all are taken care of, that everybody feels safe. And if you don't, and or if you're just looking for friends, come and find us at our booth. We'll be in Cosplay Central, and I'm sure some of us will be running around with our looking for group flag. So come look for us, enjoy the episode, and we hope to see you at C2E2 next weekend.
Talking Trash with Mike and Nikki.
All right, so this is the Trash Goblins. This is Nikki and Mike and Rosie.
Hello. Hello.
And we are here to discuss what we saw. I've seen a lot of chatter in a lot of the like Facebook groups and forums and Discord chats and stuff for cosplay and around Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo, which we call C2E2. They have branding guidelines. I have to say it that way.
Yeah, I keep forgetting it's actually what it's called.
Yeah. And so a lot of the chatter has been like new people who have never been to a con before. And like, man, can it be an overwhelming experience for a first time person? And especially somebody who like might be showing up by themselves. So I thought we could have a little chat and talk about what they could expect, pointers for what they should check out, what they should do, just things to know. Some of our favorite things. Rosie's going to give us a list of some of her top panels that she recommends this year, and self-care. And I'm going to talk a little bit about self-care at cons.
Yeah.
But since Rosie's never been on the podcast before, Rosie, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So, hi, again, I'm Rosie. I have been a member of Trashgoblins now, 2-3 years, I think. Joined the group through Mike, and it's been awesome. In regards to my experience with C2E2, I started attending damn near a decade ago. It was my first time going, and it's just been a blast going every year since then. I am someone who is, just born and raised in Chicago, and I work with youth. And outside of that, I just try to make time for hobbies and cosplaying and some of the fun stuff, because it's really easy to get caught up in your day-to-day stuff.
Sure is.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. And what do you do with? I know you said you mentioned you work with youths. What is it you do? Because
Yeah,
I think it's cool.
Thank you. Yeah, getting to go to work and work with little ones is awesome. I've been doing nonprofit youth work for about 8 years now. So we're a Chicago-based organization as well, and we offer a ton of services for just lower-income youth in Chicago. So we try to give them access to art activities, athletics, meals, all that good stuff, and trying to combine that too with just, access to events like this as well.
Word. I think all of us are like separately somehow involved with kids, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's a trip. It's like all in our own ways, but we're all definitely kind of crossing paths.
It's going to be the future. It's the future of Trash Goblins.
And if you go to work every single day, you got to make it fun. So that's one of the nice things. The kids keep their energy up. They keep my energy up,
So you volunteered at C2E2 for how many years?
1 year.
Okay.
Yeah, so the first time that I attended, it was just as an attendee. Loved it. And then the second year, they actually did the open applications to be a staff. that's where I really got into like the meat and potatoes of what they do, because I know my first year I was just, walking around the show floor, which in itself is awesome. But when I got to work the event that second year, I actually got to see some of the behind the scenes stuff. Actually learned about the panels and some of the guests that come in. So because that was like in a different area, that first year I completely missed it, which tends to be something that I hear from a lot of folks that go for their first year. They don't even know that there's like so much more beyond the front entrance.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you did a lot of the Family HQ stuff, right?
Yeah, and you know what's funny? I always say C2E2 is like my break from work, and I just get to go and have a good time. And so I was a little upset when I got assigned to work the Family HQ that year. I was like, man, I got the kids all day, and then I got the kids again on the weekend. But honestly, I don't regret it whatsoever, because Family HQ, I think it's a bad rep. First couple of years that I attended, it was like away from the show floor and a little bit separated, but they got a ton going on. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, one of the things I'm really happy about that they changed was the fact that they now have it on the main show floor. And again, Family HQ, it's geared for a lot of the kids and the families that are coming, but the activities there are really open to everybody. So, you can do arts and crafts there. You can participate in a workshop. You can watch a drawing tutorial. Like, there's a lot going on.
It's an everybody thing too, and it's just Family HQ. It's not just little kid stuff. Because the last time I really spent time in there, we sat and we did remember the little drawing and cutouts that I made to a board game for the Looney Tunes stuff.
Yep.
So like it's like making stuff with clay and then drawing tutorials and all sorts of stuff. It's not just like, here, little kid, watch this TV and be quiet. Like a lot of Family HQs are in other places.
Well, they even had a group that came down and did like animal exhibit where you got to see like reptiles and things like that, and they passed it the group, and it's really interactive.
Yeah.
And that tends to be where, like, especially for Star Wars people, there is so much Star Wars. That's the hang spot for all of the cool Star Wars doodads and droids and things and
Right.
And Jawas. There's always Jawas. I'm always excited about that.
Everybody should be.
I know.
So let's start like talking about what actually is available there. So like C2E2 as a whole is a media convention, is the way they put it, but it has a ton of different facets. So it's entertainment goes from movies to comic books to TV shows, all that sort of stuff. So it's not just a tiny self-contained thing. So in the front of the convention, like the main hall where you enter, there's sort of the booths that are like the quote unquote professional booths that are the people that come there as reps from other companies. So once in a while you have a big comic name like, DC or Marvel or Vertigo.
Pause for a second.
Yeah.
So before you even get in the door, actually keep going. We'll talk about what to expect in a minute. Like, I guess let's just go through what is there, like you said, what's available, and we'll circle back.
That's what I want to talk about first and then get back to
Yeah, gotcha.
All right. So when you first walk in the door, the floor is like the spectacle portion of the show. So there's a whole bunch of different booths and stuff from more or less professional companies usually, or like slightly larger indie groups. We had the what's the name of the company that makes the little the unicorns and stuff that I got you? Oh my gosh, I can't remember.
Funko Pops?
No, not Funko.
Oh no, that's the bobblehead ones.
Right. But anyway, they make like these little vinyl toys and they're really famous. And so that's what you see in the front is larger companies trying to like showcase their wares or showcase their new media or whatever. And you get some pretty cool stuff there. I've seen some really great stuff from the Adult Swim stuff, had some incredible booths that were like really well designed and funny. Occasionally you'll get a heavier, like a big deal comic company showcasing something specific like Marvel or DC. You'll get lately a lot of Bandai Namco stuff, and they're showing off mostly new toys, figures and things like that, which I really enjoy. That's one of my favorite things of the con, is just looking in the shelves at all the weird new crap that's going to come out. so that's the opener, and then it's not quite quadrants, but it's sort of separated into different zones at C2E2. So we discussed Family HQ. That's a little further toward the rear corner, but adjacent to that, there's also vendors like near the rear and back end of the show. It's vendors that are selling anything from like comic shops selling comic books or collectible figures or whatever, entertainment-based things. And then there's a series of what's the word? Not services. Like the Renaissance Fair, the Bristol Renaissance Fair usually has a booth there. Places like you mentioned the reptile people. They're an exotic animal rescue, and when they're there, a lot of the times they'll have animals there that you can hang out with for a donation, things like that. There's also a slightly smaller gaming section on the main floor, and that's usually video gaming. They have like an open PC area where you can bring your laptops or just sit and play some of the arcade games that they have there. And then lately they've been doing a Japanese arcade section, which I really enjoy, usually a bunch of rhythm games and things like that. And then in the center is sort of like the hangout square, and it's Revolution that hosts that, right?
Yeah, Revolution Brewing, they do the yard.
Yes, yeah, the yard is what they call. So in the middle of C2E2 is called the yard, and it's sort of like the meeting place and hangout area for everybody. Last year they were doing bingo for people to hang out, but they also have like fake grass, so it looks like a real yard on the inside, and you can play bags or sit in some little inflatable chairs and just mess around. And there's like picnic tables and such like. So even though C2E2 can get overwhelming and there are a lot of different things to look at, there are places to sort of scoot out of the way. And
yeah, there are definitely some oases to sidle away and just go do a thing for a little while.
Yeah, and there's enough weird stuff there that everybody has something. Oh my gosh, I forgot that one of the most important things is the artist alley. And we have an amazing artist alley at C2E2. Some of the most talented artists I've ever seen, honestly, selling their prints and their work. And that's also sort of like adjacent to the getaway zone and hang out and do your own thing area. So they're also it's cool to go look at their art and then go sit down and talk about what you saw, like right by the little food tables at the back, Yeah. And then maybe not the last, but the other, like one of the major ones is where we're going to be, which is Cosplay Central. And that's for, showcasing cosplayers. It's for cosplay triage. If your costumes get messed up or anything, you can go there, and there's usually a booth with, safety pins and things that you might need. It's also a cool kind of a tech hub, because sometimes they'll show off technology, and like they'll show new embroidering machines or new kinds of 3D printers or whatever that you might need for cosplay. So it's a cool sort of manufacturing industrial zone for the tech nerds out there as well.
And this year too, they have a lot of partnerships, I've heard through the grapevine, with like theater groups and whatever that are coming to do way more stuff for like helping people make stuff while they're there. And I think that's what I heard. And just really expanding not just the cosplay triage, which used to be like, one guy with like some safety pins and some glue, and now,
God bless him.
Yeah, right. And now is like a full shop for any kind of cosplay stuff that goes wrong, which, does.
Invariably something happens, yeah.
But also people that can help with like makeup and effects and all kinds of stuff. So it should be pretty cool this year.
Yeah, prosthetic stuff is showing up quite a bit. We had, not Stan Winston, we had a Weta workshop there actually one year. And not only did they have a tiny section in the cosplay zone, but they also had a store, like an actual physical merch store, and that's where I bought my Smog coins from the Hobbit movies, and I shadow boxed them and put them on my wall. I was so excited that Weta was there.
Nice.
But there's always stuff there that you never would have thought to be at that convention. It's much bigger than people think, but it's also like a local enough thing where it doesn't feel like a huge San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah, I think that's the thing I appreciate the most about the layout. For the most part, everything's condensed to one big, huge main area. But then again, because of the way that it's separated, you're going to turn a corner and find something completely new. And I don't know if you guys have the same experience, but I'll walk around the show floor the whole day and then turn a corner and there's something I haven't seen, and I swear I've seen
every time
already. Every time.
Yep. It's one of the coolest parts. It's like playing, hide and seek with random stuff in there. Like somebody tells you about it and then you got to go find it. It takes you forever, but in the case that in trying to find it, you usually find like 20 other things that you weren't looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like and also, of course, like, did you mention the panels?
No, I was going to get to that.
Okay.
I was going to have Rosie get to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll come. Actually, yeah. Why don't we talk about that now? Rosie, what do you got for us for panels this year? And do you want to, you started off saying like it's in a different area. Do you want to talk about that a little bit too?
Yeah, definitely. So, again, I've talked to a couple of people that went to C2E2 for the first time, and because there's so much to see on the show floor, they spent the whole day there and then left. And I always gasp a little bit because I really like to push the panels because there's just so much to do and it's a completely different area. But yeah, outside of the main entrance, right to the left, you go up the escalators, and there's a bunch of different rooms dedicated to all kinds of activities. They've had everything from, karaoke to art workshops to meetups to speed dating. And one of the things that I really appreciate is that they post everything in advance. So, I like to structure my weekend at the con and just kind of lay out all the things that I want to check out before I go, because time flies and it's so easy to miss something. But yeah, during that time you can, chill somewhere and like do a Lord of the Rings meetup and go hang out with other people that did similar cosplays to you and just chat for a bit. They have activities where you can do trivia in a group. So it's really, really, really fun. And then all the way in the back, on the main show, the main floor or the main stage, the main stage, they tend to have like the bigger names where it's the celebrities that come in and do interviews. They've had a really awesome panel called Twisted Tunes where they have like voice actors coming in to read a script and just using like some of their most famous voices as the characters. That one's always hilarious. But I'm really excited for some of the ones they have this year too. So I can go into.
So I have been somebody who is so starstruck just by the other attendees and their cosplay and the spectacle of it all that I almost never went to panels anyway. So you're like the first person that really opened it up and was like, you should check out all this weird crap. And I'm so glad I did, because we went to the karaoke stuff. That was amazing. We did one of my favorite ones was the people that made Cards Against Humanity had
that was a great one.
You remember that?
Yeah.
It was an onstage sort of improv group that was improving off of the Cards Against Humanity cards, and it was freaking hilarious. I still haven't done their cartoon voiceover panel. I really want to do that.
And then too.
The one I think that we have to do every time is the Japan WTF panel.
Yeah, what the fuck Japan?
Which is, it's legit just like the weirdest commercials and little mini skits and everything. And they're just like, look at this weird shit.
That one is definitely rated R. Definitely not for kids.
It's so freaking funny though. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, those were some of the coolest ones that they added. I think the group is called Nerds Know, and they just started doing like improv and really interactive stuff. And and they've got the like after hours. I think it's C2E2 After Dark. So Saturday they've got some of the more adult themed activities, and just like so many spots to just sit and like put your feet up after a long day of walking the show floor. I really appreciate that.
I will say that I much preferred the Disney karaoke to regular karaoke. Regular karaoke was too long of a line. Disney karaoke was way more like a sing-along, which very much brought me back to childhood. So that was sweet. I liked that one a lot.
The other thing about that too is that I don't know if it's just me. We end up doing it every time though, just hanging out in the hallways over there, talking to random people, just outside of the panels. And so, we'll just be like, hey, what weird crap did you just see? Let's talk about it. And it's just that whole hallway becomes like a meeting hall, and it's adorable. Everybody there just wants to hang out and talk. And then usually wrapping up, I know it's Saturday usually is when they do the big dance thing, right? Because it's after the costume convention, or not convention.
The Crown Championship of Cosplay.
Yes. Oh yeah, do you want to talk about that really quick, Nikki?
Well, okay, so I don't know. We don't know a ton about it because I don't know that any of us have ever attended. It ends up being that's in the so Rosie was talking about like you go up the escalator out the front door. If you're walking out the door, you're going to hang a right and you'll take the escalator up, and then that's where all the rooms are for the panels. And then at the very far end of that hallway is where they have the main stage, and that's like Rosie said, that's like your big, probably your Buffy panel's going to be in there and that kind of stuff. And then every night there's usually some kind of big event. I think there might be multiple events on Saturday, depending on when they hold the Crown Championship. I haven't looked at the schedule yet, but the Crown Championship of cosplay is at C2E2, and it brings a lot of cosplayers. It used to be more worldwide. Now I think a little less so because of COVID. So
yeah,
I know
COVID pared it down a bit.
Yeah, last year it was starting to kind of come back to regular form, but again, I don't know because we've never been in that room. I've watched it from the hallway while it's going
That's the
on
thing.
while it's going on sometimes, because you have to like almost stand in line to get in there. And I will say that there's not many things apart from that main room that you have to stand in line for. So it's just that main room really that anybody's standing in line or crowding in.
Right.
So they'll usually have first of all, important for anybody that's a drinker, after the con floor closes, your booze is upstairs. So get up there early. But the Crown Championship, they'll usually have or at least, I don't know if they did it last year, but they have sometimes TVs out in the sort of the foyer in front of the main room. So you can kind of watch it on the TV as it's going on and then have drinks and do whatever. So we've done that before. Actually, I think that's more fun.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But
it's like watching a reality show, but being on the set.
And also great because you get to see these people then coming on and off with their costumes in the hallway before and after. That's the prime time of the cosplay of the con, is just hanging out in that hallway, watching people come off that stage with various effects on their faces.
Right. And also they're willing to sometimes just hang out and talk to you for a minute if they're not in a rush, which is even cooler.
Yeah. That's, a lot of people hang out in that hallway to get pictures taken and stuff afterwards. I mean, not their professional photos or anything, but
no, just to be seen in the work they've done so much work on.
To feel the love, especially if they didn't win from all the fans.
Yeah.
And we're always there this is amazing. Goals for next year. I don't ever want to wear Warcraft armor, but if I did, I'm going to call you.
Exactly. And then so to follow up the finishing the Crown Championship is kind of like when the day shuts down, but into the wee hours there's a dance party in the end of the hallway, right after the Crown Championship. So you have a bunch of people that are in full costume dancing around, and it gets proper. They have some heavy, there are for real breakers. Last time we were there, there was. Didn't you say there was what was the TikTok guy, Rosie?
What was it?
Remember there was a guy on Instagram or TikTok or something that somebody followed that was at the dance party?
Goofy was there. Yeah.
Yes.
Anyone who is on TikTok, Straw Hat Goofy made an appearance. I think it was 2 years ago. And we were just at the hotel bar, I think, after the dance party.
Yeah.
And I saw this man walk by and just I think the first time in my life I got a little bit starstruck, which, it's not TikTok, but I've been watching his content. He does movie reviews, and he just kind of stopped by and started chatting with us as well, which was super, super, super exciting. I think in general, that's something that, since we're talking about first time attendees, whether this is your first con or your first C2E2, I don't want to understate how friendly everybody is. I know, man, just for getting photos of cosplayers, my first year, I was terrified. I didn't want to approach anyone. I didn't want to ask them can I take your picture and stop them? I felt like it would be an inconvenience. But honestly, just kind of building that comfort. Worst thing that can happen is someone's like, hey, I'm eating right now, give me a few minutes or something. But honestly, for the most part, everyone's just yeah, absolutely. And posing with you. And it's really, really great and welcoming.
Yeah, and it's such a big, for cosplayers, I'm telling you, man, unless you're a professional and it's all you do and you're burnt out by it, it's the whole point. Yeah. It's it's such a good connection with anybody you meet to just have somebody walk up and be like, yeah, let's take a picture together. That is the coolest feeling ever. I don't care if you're an introvert, extrovert, whatever. If you're in costume and people want to take pictures with you, that is the best feeling.
That's the whole thing, man. You're flagging your fandom hard. You know what I mean? Well, I mean, there are
Right.
cosplayers I think just like look for the costume, and that's cool too. But like for a lot of people, it's like, man, I've been trying to figure out how to make this costume because
Yeah.
my Mondo Gecko costume has been like 5-year-old me is rejoicing every single time I wear that thing.
Right.
And I like only 4 people ever know what it is, but
Right.
those people are so stoked to see somebody dressed as Mondo Gecko.
Yep.
Oh
Yep.
man, the reactions from people are fantastic.
Oh, it's amazing.
I mentioned, last year was my first time cosplaying with my sister.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it was the first year, and so we ended up doing Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy from SpongeBob, which come on now, of course. And so we had put it together like the night before, as procrastinators do, walking around dressed as 2 old men, and just having people, their reactions and like yelling from across the crowd, like Mermaid Man. It was so funny. It was a really great time, and I think that's something too. Anyone who's cosplaying for the first time, I will say this in the same realm of like anxiety and getting nervous. I was walking up to the con in my bright green leggings, super nervous, and as soon as you walk in, it's just you just blend in with the crowd. Everyone was there doing something funky, and it was really, really great.
Yeah, I said it before, I'll say it again. My favorite thing is like, as a cosplayer, you start by hiding in plain sight because you get to be somebody else. But then by the time you're, hanging out and enjoying yourself with everybody else, it's less of a separation and more of a, like, it just becomes part of you. You learn how to people a little better. At least I did.
Well, it's like, to me, it's premised on communication, right? I was saying, like, you're flagging your fandom. You're telling people what you're interested in a very, very obvious and loud way, and in ways that you can't do in regular society most of the time, depending on how you like to have your day go. But like,
right.
But so it's like it gives people an opportunity to talk to you. I remember, like, when I have a big chest tattoo, people would say, if you didn't want people to ask you about it, why did you get it on your chest? And I was like, that's kind of fair. Like, it's still it's still, not to say you have to talk about it, but it'd be a little weird if you went and cosplayed at a con, like Cosplay Con, and then you're like, I don't want to talk about my cosplay. I don't know who that guy is, but I don't know about him.
I have not met those people. The only people that I have met like that are professionals that just have somewhere to be right there. Oh, I will say, speaking of about it being accessible, like, Yaya Han was one of the big judges and major players at C2E2 in the Crown Championships, and like, she had a demonstration of sewing machines and fabrics that she was sponsoring, and then afterwards she was like, screw it, and she just hung out at the party with
I remember hanging out with Yaya Han and being like, what is happening in my life right now? Also,
and
Neville,
just random
Page,
people.
who was like a famous character creation dude, like he was one of the judges a couple years. I don't know who the judges are now. Like, I think we've gotten away from that a little bit since COVID. I feel like a lot of that is not returned yet, but I don't want to speak to that. We don't do enough of that stuff to know.
Right.
Yeah.
But just if there are people there and they're not like, if they're not at a booth, or if they're not specifically like doing something where they needs their whole attention, they probably want to hang out and talk to you.
Yeah, and if you're looking for that one-on-one interaction with the celebrity, they do have the autograph signings and the photo ops and the booth.
Yeah.
So you can purchase that, I think, in advance and on site, like day of. But again, some of these people too are just walking around the show floor. Tom Kenny, voice of SpongeBob. I'm going to reference SpongeBob multiple times. He was just walking around. I got to see him at multiple panels, and it was like super close range too, which was kind of cool. The cast of what's this show? Not Stranger Things, Umbrella Academy. They were there. And I know you mentioned accessibility, Mike. Also accessibility in regards to like disabilities and things. They've got separate lines for anyone who needs, access for wheelchairs, or if they have some other, special needs. They have very helpful staff there for that as well. Lots of outlets for chargers too. So that's always great because after a day of like taking photos, videos, recording, exchanging numbers with your friends, like your battery gets drained. So it's really nice to pop a squat somewhere, plug up your phone, and then get ready for the day to continue.
So actually that segues pretty good into like what to expect. So, Mike had said, oh, you walk through the door. First of all, you're going to have to, if you have your badge in advance, make sure that you, not register it, activate it before you get there. But if you have your badge in advance, otherwise you have to wait in the will call line. It can take a while, especially on Saturday. Saturday is probably going to sell out. It's probably going to be very, very busy. So if Saturday's the only day you're coming, be prepared for longer waits. Be prepared for very, very full parking lots. Get there early. Get there very early. And, just like I said, be prepared to kind of be waiting as you get in and that. I know that I saw some chatter online about there not being shuttles this year. So that's also a thing. Make sure you find, you're preparing for, even if you're at a hotel nearby, that you have kind of transportation figured out. We actually posted, somebody in one of the C2E2 groups had posted, like, here's all the public transportation plans for nearby if you don't have Lyft or don't want to Uber or whatever. So that's posted on our Facebook page. I'll try to share that more. And yeah, once you walk in, though, as soon as you get there, you don't really mind waiting in line because, they make you walk through this huge other portion of the building that's completely empty, besides people walking in and going through a very small metal detector, nobody caring, and then turning you loose. So it's very odd, but you walk through all that, go through security and whatnot, and then you kind of turn back around, and then head toward the door. And are just confronted by people partying outside. That's one of the major party dance places, is right in front of the giant C2E2 sign. And so all in that general hallway before you even enter the con itself, there's people hanging out, partying, dancing all day and night. They have DJs. And a lot of people do photo ops there. That's where people usually stop and get their photos taken for cosplayers, all the way down to you're walking toward it from security. On your left, there'll be the big C2E2 sign. You'll probably see it before you even get up the stairs, whichever way you're coming from. If you got to cross the bridge across the highway, congratulations. That's everybody's favorite favorite cosplay photo op place. You'll notice as you walk through, I'm sure. And then to the left, if you're looking again at the entrance coming from security, that's on the left. On the right is a stairwell going downstairs, and that kind of leads to the hotel bar, which is a very popular haunt for everybody looking for beer after hours, and or whatever. And then also the just a general kind of there's a water fountain area. People hang out down there for photo ops and stuff too, in that downstairs area. Then you walk through the door. Might kind of explain what you find when you get inside. There is a HQ all the way. Family HQ is all the way on the right, at the bottom. We in Cosplay Central are all the way up on the left. There are maps available online, so if you have that kind of anxiety and you're I need to know where everything is, you can find that information on the C2E2 website. We will post links and stuff in the show notes for that too. And then the other kind of important thing to note is bathrooms and food. So you'll have on the far right side behind Family HQ, so along the right wall, if you're again just facing from the entrance, the right wall is going to be a lot of food, and then the very, very back of the room is going to be all your autograph areas, and in the center there's two giant pillars. Up there, you can get food and you can get booze. There's kind of an underpass between the two overhead, second floor islands in the sky areas. I don't know what to call them, for the just pretzels and whatever. They have food up there, but it's all that kind of food. It's not, at least the stuff up there is not super substantial, I would say.
Yeah. And usually bready stuff to fill you up. And I do want to also comment that They do allow snacks, so I know every year they come with
Yes.
a backpack with granola bars and just stuff to keep us fueled.
That was
So
going to be one of
if you're
my
trying to,
tips. We haven't.
yeah, oh no, I didn't say anything. Ignore
Yeah.
me.
So there's an underpass again that has like pizza, some hot dogs, like pretzels, that kind of stuff, and that's on the main floor. And then there's stairs that are underneath there that go to the basement, and that's where all the bathrooms are. These things are well signed. Also, there are signs overhead that show you what aisle and stuff you're in. So it's pretty easy to navigate actually to apart from if there's a very specific booth you're looking for. An artist alley, good luck to you, my friend. But that's usually on the northeast corner is artist alley, or like really the whole eastern side is almost artist alley. But that's like sort of the main things. Again, like Rosie said, there's a lot of places to kind of hang, plug in your phone, and do what you have to do. The bathrooms get a little bit crowded, but they don't get super crowded. Also, like they're pretty clean, especially for how many people are passing through there on a daily. Very comfortable in those bathrooms. That's also that's always ends up being my favorite photo op place because the lighting is so much better than the con floor. And you have like a full length mirror. People are very also friendly in the bathroom. Like people are in there trying to fix their costumes up and put them back on and do all the things. So everybody that's like where I meet all my best friends. Is like in the bathroom.
It's like the drunk girls in bathrooms trope. I love it. It's the best,
for co-
especially as the night goes
for
on.
cosplay. That's like so much extra true. And then I was gonna say the other. I think that's pretty like like you said. There's all the stuff upstairs. I guess that's sort of the other thing is like in terms of like sort of oases and islands, the yard is a really good hangout space to kind of chill out if you need to get out of the crowd. Family HQ is nice and like chill over there. That's like again at the southeast corner. Cosplay Central is not actually super hoppin' usually. There's photos area, like staged areas, like really nice booths set up with like photo op stuff. So like me and Mike took like a diner picture together as like what we do in the shadows guys. And there's one set up for like post apocalypse. But it's like, all these kinds of areas that are meant for cosplayers to go get a chance to take, pictures with a cool background. Trying to think what else. So what did Chris tell you to talk about?
Oh yeah! Shout out to Chris for this tip. He did mention I think it's Buffalo Bill Wild Bills. So Wild Bills is a huge booth. I think they have it at a lot of events, but essentially it is a refillable mug that you purchase, and then for the entire weekend you come back and you can just get free refills on it. So that's super convenient for cutting back on costs. They have all kinds of weird flavors. Mike, I know you bring your like little tin cup every year, so I kind of just was sipping off of Chris's and Mike's drinks last year, but I'm getting my own this year.
Yeah. So the Wild Bill's booth is it's Wild Bill soda, and they have it's like natural cane sugar sodas. They're generally pretty low in trans and saturated fats, so they're not horrible for you, or at least not as horrible as other sodas. But yeah, you get their fairly expensive mug. It can be anywhere from like 30 to 60. I think they have even more expensive versions than that, but they have really good branding on the mugs. They're like high quality aluminum and or steel mugs that you can get. You can get a package where they come with a rubber top and a metal straw as well, so you're not like throwing straws away all the time. And they have a ton of different flavors that are based on on classic flavors. And you can, once you buy that mug, you can get free refills anywhere that they are. Sometimes they'll ask you for like a wristband just to prove that you made some sort of purchase or did whatever for the weekend, but it's usually a cheap thing. And then refills are all day, every day, as much as you want.
Is there any other? I'm trying to think of like anything else that we are like, I guess, our favorite things to definitely check out on the floor.
Well, this is more a digital thing, but I always recommend downloading the app.
Oh yeah.
just checked it right before we started recording this. They have updated it with all the panels now. That and they keep updating it every year, but the C2E2 app, you can get it. I think the title of the app is just C2E2. But it's got everything that they've got going on for that weekend. So I know some people prefer like a hard copy booklet. They have those as well, but on the app itself, you can see what panels are scheduled, what room, what special guests are going to be there, a map of the show floor. And then the feature I really like is that they have like a little plus sign next to the name of whatever you want to do. And you tap it and it'll add it to like your personal schedule for the weekend. And then you can just refer back to that. And like, some people like to plan and some people like to, just kind of wander around. That's cool. If you see, it's just to kind of keep a guide so that you don't miss things that you really want to go to. It can set alerts to remind you when something's starting, like 15 minutes to an hour beforehand. Yeah, I really like that.
I highly recommend it just for, trying to plan out what you want to see and what you want to do. And I think I started talking about it, but I don't know if it caught it. But like, again, if you're going to be there on Saturday, expect the floor to be pretty packed. Try to get there early or try to stay later if you're trying to make it through a lot of the vendor booths, because that's the area that gets the most packed. But even if that's the case, even when it is packed, you can still hang out. Like I said, there's little oases. You can hang out along the walls. Like if you walk the perimeter of the con, it's easy to kind of like make your way through. There's some large, there's purposefully some large passing points that are always pretty easy to get through. It's just when you start getting in the thick of the booths that it gets a little bit claustrophobic. And upstairs by the panel rooms and stuff, there's never a problem.
Yeah, that's one of the things I appreciate about Thursdays, because everyone's got different schedules. And I used to only get the Saturday pass. Last couple of years, I've been doing the 3-day. And Thursday, every day has its appeal. Thursday's really cool because there's less people there.
Friday?
There's like half. What did I say? Thursday? Yes. Friday. Thank you. Yes, that day. Don't go to the con on Thursday. There's nothing going on. Doors.
We'll be there setting up our.
We'll be out in front dancing.
Right.
Yeah, we'll be out in front dancing for quarters.
Just get there early. No, Fridays. Thank you, Nikki. On that day, there's like half the number of people there to a third of the number of people. And more space to like walk around, check out the booths and everything. Very low-key energy. Saturday, it's super hype. I'm so sorry, my window is closed. But Saturday's got a ton of people, ton of events. It's got the night events and the after-hours stuff. And then Sunday, it ends a little bit earlier. And still a good number of people because it is, the weekend. But it's really that kind of chill, see what deals you can get, grab minute stuff. There's a couple different events. They do a panel. C2E2 does a panel themselves, just asking like, hey, what did you like? Give us some feedback. And I really appreciate that about them because they're always like looking to improve. And I feel like I've seen them add things based off of feedback that they've gotten. So it's just also exciting to see how they continue to expand.
Yeah, I feel like the show floor has more stuff on it every year.
Yeah.
I will.
Well, and the company is that old. It's only been going on for, I think, 11 or 12 years. I know the first year that I attended, it was only its like second or third year in Chicago.
Yeah. We've been going for, I think, 9 or 10. Not since the beginning, but pretty close.
I was at the very first one. And then I missed one or two in between, but I've been to almost every one.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to mention is like if you maybe this is your first time at C2E2, but you do other cons, there's really not anything. Like Saturday night is the big night, that's the party night, and even that ends at like 1 or 2. I feel like between midnight and 2, I always think it's midnight, and then it's like 2 o'clock somehow. So that one goes a little bit later, but like the hotel bar closes at midnight. So if you want to hang out after hours, there's really not much going on besides Saturday night.
It's still a Midwest con.
And the other...
People got work in the morning.
You can't say that. Chicago's got bars open till 5 like on a Saturday.
That's true. That's true.
But what most people do, especially if you have a hotel, is they will hang out in the hotel lobby. So like the hotel bar connects to the hotel lobby. And so there's just like a string of cosplayers that just take over the joint for all hours of the night. So that's kind
Yeah.
of the after hours hangout spot.
And you can pick your vibe also, because I know they've got, like, again, the dance floor right outside of the main stage.
Yeah.
But the hallways are still open, so you've got just some people who are sitting outside of the dance floor, you know, listening in, tapping their foot, taking pictures. And some of the rooms are still open during that time, so karaoke goes on for a bit. They had like what was it? It was like a lo-fi anime chill room a couple years ago.
That's right. That was really cool.
Yeah, it's just random little things that you can attend. So if you're not super into it being loud or the dancing aspect, you don't have to go home. There's still other stuff going on.
Yeah, and the panels in those rooms and stuff that are upstairs above the con in general are just like wander around, see a weird thing, walk in and check it out. There's like a console free play where you can go in and play video games, or if you just see a weird thing going on, they encourage you, like, come on in, even if you can't find a seat, like edge up against the wall,
not like
and
a
you can see all sorts of weird stuff.
Closed door stay out if you didn't like stand in line situation. That doesn't happen.
Right.
Cool. So like, okay, any other things for like best things that we want to point out to people?
Speaking of, there's one last thing that I wanted to mention that I heard a bunch of C2E2 nerds have been talking about after they leave C2E2. And it's a bit of a hike away, but in Brookfield, there's the Galloping Ghost Arcade, which is like it's the biggest arcade in the nation. It's open 24 hours, and a lot of people will go there and just hang out and like infiltrate the arcade and stay there like all night. Yeah, I found out about this fairly recently.
Well, if we have the juice, we gotta break down our tape. We'll see.
Yeah, I just heard about it recently. Like that is apparently.
That's good to know. Okay. Also, there's.
Oh, I'm sorry. They're open till midnight.
Okay. There's also like a lot of. I mean, if you are a cosplayer and you want to schedule. You don't know anybody in the area, but you want to schedule a photographer or something like that to do a shoot for you, I highly suggest looking into Chicago Cosmeetup. That's a lot of their jam is like trying to connect cosplayers to photographers to, whomever, and also do it in a safe way. There's a lot of creeps out there. Be safe. We're working on, badges, like the community in Chicago is working on a lot of things, badges and whatnot. And in general, you'll see some stuff that's like, cosplay is not consent and whatever, but it's not as pronounced as it is at like, Mikey's going to PAX East. I know it's a huge thing there. But we are, as a community, trying to figure out ways to deal with nonsense. However, if you do want to vet somebody one way or the other, that's a good place to look, and or to ask around and or whatever. There are opportunities to do that. They usually have meetups throughout the con. Like one day will be like Marvel and one, that kind of thing. So, check them out on Facebook and network with them a little bit before the con, and you may be able to figure some of that stuff out if you are there for photo shoots and that kind of thing. And I think there was something else. I'm losing it. But I guess that's it.
There's no way we can talk about everything that's there. There's so much crap, and like a big part of it is just wander around and look at all the weird stuff. Like, just experience it, and if you're a big planner, there's plenty to plan around, but you're always gonna find some weird stuff you weren't expecting.
Right, distractions everywhere, and I was glad you mentioned the last thing we did, because just in closing on things we like, similar to what you were saying about the cosplay is not consent signs that they have everywhere. I think they just work really hard to make it like a safe and inclusive event. Lots of panels on diversity, and just making sure that everyone goes to this event and feels comfortable. So I think it's the biggest takeaway.
But if for some reason, you're there and you feel like somebody's being a creeper, come find us at our booth. We are at Cosplay Central. We are C11. And we will be there to, I will jujitsu people if I have to. But also,
we are the designated rent-a-friends, and we will come and hang out with you no matter what.
If you come and say, like, I listen to your podcast, we will adopt you for the entire con. You won't be able to get away. But we're not creeps, so.
Yeah.
I will say, like, so, like, that was my last bit. It's just self-care. Remember, it's a party weekend, but it is a marathon, not a sprint. If you're there for 3 days anyway, if you're there for the 1 day, party on, Wayne. But, like, otherwise, plan accordingly. Like Rosie said, you can bring in a backpack, you can bring in food and snacks and water. Please bring in all those things. Please bring a refillable water bottle. Please bring, yourself some snacks. Especially because, like, it's a con, everything is going to be overpriced. The beer's going to be overpriced. It's not actually that bad comparative to, like, even anything else in Chicago. But, like, it's still, for a lot of people, it still seems like a lot, especially if you're not from Chicago. So please do those things. Please sleep a little bit. Please get rest. Please wear comfortable shoes or bring comfortable shoes. You will be walking a lot. And again,
you don't want to end up having to throw them in the trash can.
I've done that. I have thrown my shoes in the trash can.
Yes, you have.
So, and again, like, if something happens, you need anything, bring chargers, bring phone chargers, like Rosie said. And then otherwise, just make sure that you're, like, if anything is going on that's weird while you're there, just ask somebody. Somebody's got you. It's a very friendly community.
Yeah.
Nobody's there to, everybody's there to be a community. So I promise you, if you need help, somebody's going to help you. I can't tell you how many times I've left my shit, my wallet, my phone, my credit card, everything somewhere. And, like, 2 hours later, I realize it. And Mike's like, it was where you left it. Nobody touched it. Like, it's a place that 1,000 people just walked. So.
Yeah, or they drop it off at the Lost and Found, and they give us a call in the morning, and they're like, "Hey, is this yours?"
Yeah. So
it's pretty. So great.
Yeah, enjoy. Have a great time. We hope we see you. If you're listening to this before C2E2, please stop by and say hi to us.
Yes.
And yeah, otherwise, you guys got anything left? Last tips, last bits.
I think that's it.
Oh yeah.
What do you got?
Super hype. I just talking about this got me excited all over again. I cannot wait to be there and see you guys. So yeah.
It's gonna be great. We're gonna have a bunch of fun being dumpster bees together.
We are. All right, guys. Bye.
All right, babies. Bye.
This has been a production of Yuck Mouth Media.